The 2017 National Technology Plan update was intended to help implement technology into education practices. The plan discusses how technology can impact learning, teaching, leadership, assessment, and infrastructure. I used different criteria from each of these sections to help evaluate the current state of my school's virtual learning and education in technology. The section I found to be most important was infrastructure. Infrastructure is what makes sure students and staff will have access to the technology they need, and without it, virtual learning and education in technology could not be possible. The following criteria are what I use to help evaluate my school's current environment. The ubiquitous connectivity, which is the students and staff have access to the technology anywhere in the school and at all times. Then, learning devices. This ensures that the students have the appropriate devices available to them. 3. The digital learning content. Is there material available to the students and staff online? Then the responsible use policy. The school's policy to ensure that the students are using their device and technology appropriately, and this policy ensures that the students' privacy is protected. And then the last criteria I focused on was the device and network management, which is the staff that's available for the maintenance and upkeep. My school does have many of these criteria covered. We do make sure that we have access to the internet anywhere in the school, and the level of devices does not affect the speed of the internet. However, we do not have a device available for every student. If they are going to use a device, it has to be provided by them. There is access to online resources at home or in school through our online portal, which is similar to Canvas. We do have a technology department that supports the staff with technology questions, and they also maintain the network, security, licenses, and website. At the beginning of the year, we also make sure to have a policy, similar to the responsible use policy listed, that the students and their parents have to sign at the beginning of the year. This makes them aware that they have to use their technology appropriately and to make sure that they keep their personal information private. The second section I chose to evaluate was learning. I chose to evaluate learning as the second level of importance because technology learning would not be possible without a solid infrastructure. The criteria that I looked at to evaluate learning was personalized or blended learning. Personalized learning focuses on that students are learning at the appropriate pace and level for them. And blended learning makes sure that learning is done online and in person. Agency in learning, students have the opportunity to make choices in their learning. Project-based learning, this encourages more creativity and collaboration between students, and it provides a different form of assessment instead of typical quizzes and tests. Universal design for learning, this helps make learning accessible to the needs of different students. And last, physical space and technology-enabled learning. Can our classrooms accommodate traditional learning and individual learning through the use of technology? While I work, it is nice that our students do have the authority in their learning because they have different opportunities throughout the year to choose their own courses. We also put a strong emphasis on project-based learning. We use Microsoft Office, which allows students to collaborate easily on different projects or papers. The physical space in our classroom does allow the use of a device without overrunning the internet, and we also have Prometheans installed in each of our classrooms that the students can use at teachers' discretion. However, there is room for improvement at my school. I do believe that we could do a better job for blended learning. Not much learning is done online while the students are at home. I have started to create YouTube videos, which we are encouraged to do, so that I can share them with them the night before and they are able to practice. And when they come to school, there is more time for projects and personalized learning. The next section I chose to evaluate was leadership. I think that is third in the level of importance because without strong leaders, they will not be able to relay the goals of their technology plan to the educators. The criteria I chose to focus on for leadership was to start collaborative leadership. This is the leaders have goals to reach for the technology use in our school, whether that be the implementation of technology in our everyday lessons or that more students have laptops or tablets to use daily. The second criteria I used to evaluate was personalized learning. These leaders are there to support the teachers to make sure they have what they need to actually follow through with personalized learning. The third criteria was the robust infrastructure. This is the networks, the technology, hardware, and the devices that make this type of learning possible. The leaders would be in charge of this maintenance and development and to keep up to date with all the newest software. Fourth was role expansion. Having staff develop a role or more responsibility related to the use of technology. And last, the technology long-term stability. The leaders that are in charge of making sure that devices stay up to date and as things become obsolete, they are replaced. Now the evaluation. We have a department that consists of staff that are in charge of keeping our school up to date. They renew the licenses, they get new devices. We have recently switched from Smartboard to Promethean. They are also the support system for the technology-related questions. Some teachers have started to expand their roles and be more of an active member in educating others on different technology resources offered at the school. I think that more of an emphasis needs to be put on school-wide goals, or our individual departments need to have technology goals. Of course, the use of technology is always encouraged, but I think there needs to be something more concrete that our school defines for the expectations of the student as well as the teacher. The fourth section I chose to cover was teaching, and the reason I ranked teaching fourth is after there's a strong leadership, there can be teachers there to enact and implement the goals of the technology plan our school has. The first criteria that I focused on was authentic learning. The students are placed in real-world learning experiences, and the teachers have the ability to communicate with other educators around the world to learn about their teaching practices and skills their students could improve upon. Next was professional learning and development and just-in-time support. This makes sure that the educators are able to use technology to teach and evaluate student progress. And the just-in-time support is, are there mentors available to help teachers or leaders? The connected educator, an educator who collaborates with others to help improve their teaching practices. Teacher leaders, these are educators that test out the new technology and then can share their findings with the rest of the school. And lastly, a teacher preparation program. This makes sure that new teachers are prepared on how to use the technology that is provided and available to them. I have been surrounded by a great group of staff at my institution. I have worked at my school for 1 year, so I know firsthand that we have a teacher preparation program. All new teachers are enrolled in a 2-year preparation program. They teach us how to use the technology the school has available. We have a portal page and Microsoft Office most specifically at our fingertips. Our theology classes experience most of the real-world learning that goes on at our school. They take place in a lot of community service projects that deal with different aspects of their curriculum. I think there could be an improvement on our professional development. It is offered, but very little has been focused on technology and education. As of our current country's situation, we have been practicing much more with incorporating online professional development to help with our technology needs. I would like to be connected to more educators, and I hope that one day we can access different educators throughout the world to see how they run their classes and how they incorporate technology into their curriculum. The last section from the education plan was assessment. I think that this section comes last because once there is a solid infrastructure, good learning, leaders, and good teaching going on, then the assessment results can be properly put into place and the data and feedback can be recorded. The criteria that I focused on first for assessment was the assessment data. This is what technology is available to gather data to provide more personalized learning. Second, the enhanced question types, such as a graphic response through drawing and graphing, a simulation such as an online lab, equation responses, or performance-based, so students have to complete different tasks. Real-time feedback is the third criteria I focused on, which is the tools that help to grade assessments and enables the teacher to share the feedback and suggestions to students on their strengths and weaknesses. Fourth was computer adaptive testing, and this is how the computer can change difficulty of the questions depending on the student's performance. And fifth, the embedded assessments. These are interwoven into everyday lessons. So, for example, a digital game that provides feedback on a student's performance daily. The evaluation of my school is that we do have access to varied assessments. We are privileged to have access to different online assessment tools through Microsoft Office, such as Microsoft Forms, and we also have different tools available on our portal, which is similar to what we use on Canvas. You can create quizzes or discussions on our portal, which allow us educators to provide quick feedback to our students, because the assessment can be graded for us, or you can individually grade the different discussions and comment directly to that student's discussion post. Our gradebook also allows us to write comments to a specific grade. When a student writes a paper on Microsoft Office, they are able to share it with us and other students. So that allows peer editing or a teacher's comments or grade. And when something is edited on their paper and the comment is shared, the student is notified. We typically do not rely on computers for tests. However, I think that computer adaptive testing could be something we look into the future, since it focuses on personalized learning and changing the difficulty for individual students. We are always encouraged to use the varied assessments that are available to us. However, quizzes are normally dealt with online and tests are still done with pen and paper. We do not have access to a varied amount of online tools, so I hope that within the future our school can find other resources available to us. Overall, I think my school has been doing a great job implementing technology through this distance learning process that we are currently in. We were required to create videos, or we go on Microsoft and use Teams to help create classes online. And our school is currently working on improving our infrastructure by making sure that more students have devices, our learning, making more textbooks available online, the leadership, they are always looking for more teachers and staff to expand their knowledge on teaching the technology and education to other teachers. Teaching, we are always looking for other resources to keep our technology and our teaching up to date. And lastly, assessments, utilizing what we can, especially through distance learning, to evaluate our students' progress.